Hey everybody, my name's Amy and I read a lot. Today's video is going to be all about books that I have read for school that I actually liked. I'm an English major and now I am getting my master's degree in English, so I've taken a lot of literature classes. I've been studying literature since 2009, and so I've been assigned a lot of books over the years, and a lot of them I've forgotten or I never added to like my Goodreads list or I don't own anymore, so I'm sure there's others I could add to this list I just don't remember. But today I'm going to talk to you about books that I had to read for class that I liked. First up, we have The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. This book is a classic for a reason. It's very literary, it's very good. It's a series of short stories about a platoon of characters in the Vietnam War. This version that I have is really heavily annotated. Like, I had thoughts about this. You can see just all the different places that I've annotated because this book was really good. I mean, the writing was amazing. It just kind of hit you in the gut because it's dealing with some really serious subject matter. So definitely not a happy book. And there's a scene in there that involves an animal that really got to me. Like, I literally blocked out a couple lines with like a black pen because I didn't want to read that part on accident again because it was very upsetting to me. Otherwise, this novel is phenomenal. Next up, we have Do Not Say Nothing by Madeline Tien. She is an Asian Canadian author, and this book I read because it is shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize for 2016. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, I took a whole class on that, which was kind of exciting. I wrote a paper on this book, like a really long paper, so I am intimately familiar with the details of this book. It is about a Chinese family during the Cultural Revolution and the present, so it kind of flashes back and forth between these two timelines. It's about a family of musicians and writers, and I've never really learned about the Chinese Cultural Revolution in school. I didn't know that much about it, so this book was really informative that way. I would consider it historical fiction and contemporary because it takes place in two different timelines, but it's good. I mean, if you don't know anything about the Chinese Cultural Revolution, totally pick this one up because I learned a lot. And it's heartbreaking and devastating and yet kind of impersonal at the same time, which is really fascinating. If this is the kind of contemporary stuff you're into, would totally recommend it. Next up, we have The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. If you guys haven't read Oscar Wilde, he's hysterical. He's a really funny, witty, amazing author with a very sad backstory, as a lot of you know, but The Importance of Being Earnest is clever. It is hysterical. It is a really interesting social critique on the bourgeoisie of the time. So it's a play. It's short, it's really fast to get through, but I super enjoyed it. It was so good and it was so funny. Quick little read. Only thing I've read by Oscar Wilde so far, which is a disappointment. Red mark on my reader card right there, but hopefully I'll read more by him soon. When I was an undergrad, I took a class on young adult literature. Whole class on young adult literature. It was amazing. One of the novels that we read is The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. A lot of you might have read this in high school. I didn't personally, but it was phenomenal. It was a really good portrait of what it's like to live on the reservation and to be Native American in America. I'd recommend it to anybody, especially if you want to know more about issues of marginalized people, want to learn more what it's like being a teenage Native American boy. It's good, and it won the National Book Award, as you can see by this fancy sticker. Next up, we have To Kill a Mockingbird, which I didn't read in high school. Most of you read this book in high school. I was like one of the only kids in my class, or, you know, adults, I guess, since I took this in college. I was one of the adults in my class who hadn't read this book yet, and it was good. I was surprised. It's one of those ones I avoided because it's so hyped, and a lot of people don't like reading it when they're in high school, so I was like, oh, it's probably one of those stuffy classics, but no, super good. I mean, race relations, and like we got this really awesome tomboy character, and on the back of this book it says it's one of the best loved classics of all time, and I can kind of see why. Won a Pulitzer Prize. Everybody's read this one, but if you haven't and you've been avoiding it like I was, don't. You should pick it up. It's good. Before I Fall is another novel that I read for my young adult literature class, and it is what put Laura and Oliver on the map, and rightly so. It's a really good read. It's heartbreaking. She dies in a car crash, and then she wakes up the next morning. And she has to keep reliving the last day of her life over and over again until she gets it right. And you don't know if her getting it right is going to be her living, her saving somebody else's life, her dying. She's this really popular, blessed human, very pretty, has an awesome group of friends, and it kind of perfectly captures what it feels like to be a teenage girl and what it felt like in that time when you had your squad and like you spent every weekend with your best girlfriends and you were each other's family, and that's a feeling that I really related to, even though I was never the popular girl and I was never the girl who had it all. I had an amazing group of friends just like Samantha has in this book, and so that was really relatable for me. but I also didn't know how it was going to end. Love that. It's kind of a harder read. It's not like a happy read. I would like pick up this book because I want to feel amazing, but it was good. Next up, we have His Bloody Project by Graham McCrae Burnett. I also read this book for the Man Booker class that I took, which is one of the more recent classes that I took. It is one of the most interesting novels I have ever read. Notice that I say interesting, not necessarily good, because it's been months. I read this book in like January, and I still can't decide whether I liked it or not. It was interesting. It takes place in a bound document kind of format, and a lot of my classmates didn't realize it was fiction, which was kind of interesting. So they were reading it like it was a true story. I knew it was fiction because of something I read elsewhere. It's so submersive, and it has police reports and medical examinations and diary entries and court testimonies. And so it seems like it's something that really happened, but it is fiction, I promise. Probably. See, that's the weird thing about it. Not gonna tell you how it ends, because I don't even really know how it ends. It's one of those ambiguous ending kind of books, so if you don't like ambiguous endings, you're not gonna like it, but I was fascinated. The writing style was super interesting. It was so submersive that I got caught right up in it, flew through it. Last but certainly not least, we have The Night Circus. Can you believe that I got to read The Night Circus for school? How amazing is that? Most of you picked it up because it was so cool and popular. I got assigned this book in my creative writing class, and it is the debut novel by Erin Morgenstern. I don't know when she's coming out with a new novel, but I hope it's soon because she's really good. But it is so interesting. The world building is amazing. The characters are lovely, and it puts you inside the Night Circus, and it makes you feel like you're a part of this world. And that doesn't happen as often as I would like with novels, so I definitely recommend this one. It's fantasy. It takes place sometime in the ambiguous past. I would definitely recommend this one. It's definitely one of my favorite ones that I read for school. So those are novels that I definitely enjoyed reading for school. And as always, if you have any questions or if there's anything you want to tell me, head on down to the comment section, and I'll be back soon with a new video. So thank you!